All right, let's get right into it. Every single day, more than 1 billion people recite this short 7-verse chapter. It's the very heart of their prayers. It's called Al-Fatihah, which means the opening. But what secrets are hiding in plain sight within these few lines? What makes them so incredibly powerful? Well, that's what we're going to do in this explainer. We're going to unlock them one by one.
I mean, just look at that. That is a huge statement. We're told that Al-Fatihah isn't just some other chapter. It is the greatest chapter in the entire Quran. So that immediately makes you wonder, right? Why? What exactly gives it that incredible status? To figure that out, we've got to look a little closer.
So the first clue is actually in its names. And I say names because, well, it doesn't just have one. Al-Fatihah has a bunch of different titles, and you can think of each one like a different key, unlocking a completely different part of its meaning and its purpose. Okay, so the most famous name, the one we all know, is Al-Fatihah. It literally means the opening. And this is so perfect because it works on 2 levels. First, it's the physical opening of the Quran. It's page 1, the very first chapter. But it's also the spiritual opening for every single part of a Muslim's daily prayer. In fact, the prayer isn't even considered complete without it.
And just look at this list. This really shows you the depth we're talking about. It's called the 7 Oft-Repeated because of its 7 verses that get recited over and over day in and day out. It's called the mother of the book because it's like the whole message of the Quran is packed into it. It's even known as the cure and the remedy for its spiritual healing. Some even call it the prayer itself, and my favorite, the treasure. See, each name tells you what it does.
Now let's go back to that one name for a second, the 7 Oft-Repeated. You'd think counting to 7 is pretty straightforward, right? Well, with Al-Fatihah, it's actually this fascinating little puzzle. And solving it tells us something really profound about unity in the Islamic tradition.
So here's the puzzle. The chapter kicks off with the phrase, "In the name of God," the basmalah. For centuries, some of the most brilliant scholars have said, yep, that's verse 1. But others have said, nope, it's an introduction, not the first verse. So how on earth do they both always end up with exactly 7 verses? It seems impossible.
And this is how. It's so elegant. Take a look. The first group counts that opening line as verse 1. The other group doesn't. So to make it all add up to 7, what does that second group do? They just split the very last, long verse into 2 smaller parts. So you have 2 different paths, but they both arrive at the exact same destination, 7 verses. It's this perfect, divine balance.
This whole idea of different paths leading to the same truth brings us to our next secret, what you might call the voices of revelation. And no, these aren't mistakes or typos. They are different, divinely approved ways of reciting the text that actually make the meaning even richer.
A perfect example is right here, in the 4th verse. Some people recite it as Malik with a long A sound. That means owner. Others recite it as Malik with a short A sound, which means king. Now think about that for a second. An owner can possess something but not have any real power over it. And a king can rule a kingdom but not personally own everything in it. But when you put the 2 recitations together, you get a complete picture. God isn't just the owner or the king of the Day of Judgment. He's both, the absolute owner and the absolute king. It's not about one being right and the other wrong. They complete each other.
But really, all of this, the names, the numbers, these different voices, it all leads up to the biggest, most profound secret of Al-Fatihah. It's not just a piece of text you read. It's actually a script for a direct, one-on-one conversation between you and God every single time you pray.
And the key that unlocks this whole idea is found in something called a hadith qudsi. It's a special kind of divine saying where God speaks directly in the first person. And this is where the real heart of Al-Fatihah just opens right up.
This right here, this is the statement that changes everything. God says he has divided the prayer, and he means Al-Fatihah, into 2 halves. One half for him, and the other half for you, the one who's praying. And then comes the incredible promise. My servant shall have what he has asked for. Instantly, this recitation goes from being a monologue to a real-time dialogue.
And just look at how this conversation plays out. When you say all praise is due to Allah, God actually responds saying, my servant has praised me. When you continue, the most gracious, the most merciful, he replies, my servant has glorified me. And then you get to the turning point where you ask for something, guide us to the straight path. And right then, God makes that amazing promise. This is for my servant, and he shall have what he asks for. It's a direct call and response with God himself.
So, after all this, knowing that this short chapter is a treasure,
a cure, a perfect puzzle, a text with layers of meaning, and most importantly, a direct conversation with God who is actively listening and promising to answer you, the only real question left is, how different will it feel the next time you stand to pray?